It had been years since the first signs of an impending alien invasion had been detected, and yet the world still seemed unaware of the impending threat. The governments of the world had been working in secret to develop a response to the alien armada that was making its way towards Earth. But they knew that they could not do it alone. That was where the elite soldiers with superhuman abilities came in. They had been secretly trained and augmented to fight off the alien invaders, but their existence was known only to a select few. They were humanity's best-kept secret weapon, and they were about to be put to the test. As the alien armada entered Earth's atmosphere, the soldiers were deployed to key locations around the world. They worked in secret, sabotaging the alien technology and gathering intelligence on their enemy. It was a dangerous game, but it was the only hope humanity had. At first, it seemed like the soldiers were making progress. They had managed to destroy several key alien installations and disrupt their communications network. But then, something went wrong. One of the soldiers, a young woman named Maria, had been captured by the aliens during a mission gone wrong. They had discovered her abilities and were using her to try and infiltrate the human resistance. Maria knew that she had to escape, but the aliens had taken away her powers, leaving her powerless and alone. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the politics of the situation were becoming increasingly complicated. The governments of the world were reluctant to acknowledge the existence of the alien invasion or the secret war being fought by the soldiers. They were more concerned with maintaining their power and influence, even if it meant sacrificing the safety of their own citizens. As the alien invasion continued to escalate, the soldiers found themselves facing impossible odds. They were outnumbered and outgunned, and the aliens seemed to have an endless supply of resources at their disposal. It was a war that they could not win on their own. But then, something miraculous happened. Maria managed to escape from the aliens and make her way back to Earth. She had discovered a weakness in the alien technology, a flaw that could be exploited to turn the tide of the war. With her powers restored, Maria joined forces with the soldiers to launch a daring mission to strike at the heart of the alien forces. It was a desperate gamble, but it paid off. The soldiers and Maria managed to destroy the alien mothership, crippling the invasion and saving humanity from certain destruction. But even as they celebrated their victory, they knew that the fight was far from over. There were still pockets of aliens scattered across the globe, and the soldiers knew that they would have to remain vigilant to prevent another invasion from taking place. In the end, the secret war fought by the soldiers would be largely forgotten by history, but they would always remember the sacrifices that had been made and the bravery that had been shown in the face of impossible odds. For they were the true heroes of the alien invasion, the unsung warriors who had saved the world from destruction. Years had passed since the alien invasion, and the world had largely returned to a state of normalcy. The soldiers with superhuman abilities had gone back into hiding, their existence known only to a select few. But they knew that they could not rest on their laurels. The threat of another invasion was always present. Lurking on the fringes of the galaxy, one of the soldiers, a man named David, had become restless in his retirement. He had always been one of the best, and he knew that he still had more to give. When he received a coded message from an unknown sender, he knew that he had been called back into action. The message led David to a hidden facility in the middle of the desert, where he met with a group of other soldiers like himself. They had been brought together by a mysterious organization known only as the Council, and they had been tasked with a new mission. The Council had detected signs of another alien invasion, and they knew that the soldiers were the only ones who could stop it. But this time, things were different. The aliens had evolved since their last encounter, and they were more powerful than ever before. The soldiers were given a new set of superhuman abilities, ones that would allow them to take on the aliens on a level playing field. But even with their new powers, the soldiers knew that this would be their toughest mission yet. The soldiers were deployed across the globe, working in secret to gather intelligence on the alien forces. They discovered that the aliens had developed a new weapon, one that could wipe out entire cities in the blink of an eye. It was a weapon that had to be stopped at all costs. As the soldiers launched their attack on the alien forces, they quickly discovered that this was not the same enemy they had faced before. The aliens had adapted to their tactics, and they were more prepared than ever for a human invasion. But the soldiers were not deterred. They fought with everything they had, using their new powers to take on the aliens on their own terms. It was a brutal and bloody battle, with casualties on both sides. In the end, the soldiers emerged victorious. They had managed to destroy the alien weapon and cripple their forces, ensuring that humanity was safe for another day. But they knew that the fight was far from over. The aliens were still out there, and they would always be a threat. As David and the other soldiers returned to their lives of secrecy, they knew that they would always be ready to answer the call of duty. For they were the guardians of humanity, the protectors of the world from the dangers that lurked beyond the stars. And they would always be ready to face whatever came their way. With the threat of alien invasion once again vanquished, David and the other soldiers returned to their lives of secrecy, but this time with a renewed sense of purpose. They had faced their greatest challenge yet and emerged victorious, but they also knew that they couldn't do it alone. The fight to protect humanity would require more than just their skills and abilities. It would require the collective efforts of all people on Earth. David and his team decided to reveal their existence to the world, knowing that the knowledge of their abilities could inspire others to step up and defend their planet. They founded an organization that would train and support those who were willing to fight for humanity's survival. Their message was clear: we are not alone in the universe, and we must be prepared for whatever challenges may come our way. We cannot rely solely on our technology or our military might. We must also rely on our courage, our strength, and our ability to work together. As David and the other soldiers looked out at the stars, they knew that they were not just defending their home planet, but also the future of humanity. And they were determined to make sure that future was a bright one. In the end, the story of alien invasion, the secret war, is a reminder that even in the face of impossible odds, we can always find a way to prevail. We can always find hope in the darkest of moments, and we can always come together to overcome even the greatest challenges. It is a message of strength, resilience, and unity, and one that we should always keep close to our hearts.